Oh, thanks. Hi, everyone. So, as the talk suggests, I am an account manager at Parallax, and I'm going to talk about some advice that I've picked up. I have 4 years experience. I've worked, I'm going to go through this talk really fast. Oh no, I had nightmares about this happening. We can have a quick run through of all my slides, that's fine. Oh, this is ruining all my jokes. Oh my God. Great. Thanks, that's great, thanks for that. Shall I ignore this? I'll keep going. I wasn't pressing it. Okay. So I've got 4 years experience. I started off at a small startup, moved to 2 different agencies, and I ended up in Parallax, so you can follow them at Twitter there. And that's my Twitter if you want to heckle me through there after this talk. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you the nod. Why do this talk? Well, first of all, I've been coming to Hey events for like the last year and a half, and I've found them really, really useful. Not because they've been account management directed, but because they've been about my team, the studio developers, from a design perspective, and that's really helped me get a really insight into their job, and I hope that this is as useful as this is for account managers for you guys. And if you don't know an account manager, if you're not one, then you definitely know one. If not, you're probably doing a lot of your own account management if you're like a freelancer or you're a one-man band. So I hope that these talks help you guys as well. So I'm going to go through the best bits of my job, some challenges, and some pro tips. Okay, cool. So on a good day, this is kind of like a day-to-day kind of stuff. So the client will talk to me. I've got like a laser pointer. If it works. This won't work, that's fine. So the client will call me, that's me there with the phone, with a request, so they'd like to make an amend to their website. I then go into studio, into my project managers. Then they schedule it into studio, get it done, tell me when it's ready, and then I tell the client that it's fixed. But mostly it's like this instead. That's me in the middle, looking really sad. Where there's lots of accounts to manage at once, lots of things running in studio at once. Sometimes they're not going to plan. The project managers probably look like that in the middle as well. And sometimes not everyone is happy. I think that's the idea that we have to manage. But there are some really good bits about my job. The variety. So not 2 days are the same. Lots of stuff is happening. I think that's really good. I never get bored at my job. I work with some of the most creative and talented people. I'm not a creative person, but being able to work with them means that it's really good. I feel like I've got a little bit of an insight into the projects I get to work on. It's rewarding when you present finally the website that took you 12 months to make, and it's there and it's ready and it's online and it's getting all the views that it should and it's working. That's the best part of the job. It's perfect for social people because our business is just making relationships. And every day is a school day. All of us work in an industry that changes every day. And working, I need to make sure that I'm keeping my ear to the ground to be good at my job. Cool. And there's some challenges. So the biggest one is that we can be seen as yes men, especially from our studio. I don't think that we give a lot of logic of the reasons why we send things into studio. These are amends that don't make any sense to the designers, why do we need to move this button here? Or why do we need to make the website not responsive, even though we're in 2015? Lots of different things, and we're just saying yes to clients. And I think that's a huge challenge, that we can be seen as somebody that's not on their side. But there's some tips that I've listed on the next slide. Cool. So saying no can be really difficult, and I think it takes a lot of confidence to do. But the clients are coming to you for expertise, not your bullshit. So I think that clients have a really good bullshit detector, and saying no can be really tough, but once you do, it can really strengthen your relationship. And when you do have to push through stuff that doesn't make sense to us or to studio, I think you need to provide the logic to your studio so they understand, yes, we do need to remove this button, even though we think it makes sense, because the client wants it that way, so we can make the other amends later on. Next challenge. Account managers are pretty good at upsetting designers and devs. I think this goes hand in hand with the first slide. We push through stuff and we schedule things wrong, and I don't think we have any concept sometimes of how long certain amends take. Things that take what we think should take 5 minutes often don't. And I think that there's a lot of things that we can do as account managers to make things better between the relationship with our studio. We need to start with really strong briefs. I know that we often don't have time to make them the strongest, but we need to ask all of the questions, all of the obvious questions, and make sure that our clients aren't there asking things that they think are really obvious, and nothing should be assumed. Great quote there from Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. I think that that's where things start going wrong, is when you start assuming that the client knows stuff, or assuming things about the brief, or assuming that your studio knows all the answers. And for those in studios, I think that you should be patient with account managers. I think that's the biggest thing that I can ask for, because we're in between a rock and a hard place quite often. We understand that the client wants some things, and then we need to put it into studio. And sometimes that isn't going to be the best decision, but we just need to push forward with it. Cool. And this is the age-old problem with account management, is managing client expectations. I think we've all seen that meme with the Life of Pi, with the client budget and the client expectation is to make it look amazing. Every client wants everything for nothing, and that's going to cause huge issues with your relationship. Okay? So I think you should set yourself up again to succeed, and that means really great briefs, really great project functionality specs. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's been past clients that have been difficult, so I would suggest going back and doing your retrospectives, going back and doing the kickoff meetings properly, and like raising those red flags right at the beginning. I think the best one that I can suggest is being a keen bean, and what I mean by that is that you should, I've never been in a project where someone's told me that I'm over-communicating something. If a client has to chase you for stuff, that means you're doing something wrong. You should be telling them at every point, at every situation, what's happening with your project. We're doing this week, we're doing that this week, we're having problems here, and letting them know so that nothing is a surprise. And that's the last one, is just be honest. Then I've got final top 3 tips I think kind of are the core of my talk. This one is know your shit. If you're not confident about what you're talking about, your client is going to know. And that means your client isn't going to go with you in the end. You need to be able to have a sensible conversation with someone. So to know your shit, I would recommend reading what your devs and what your designers are reading. We, Parallax, have a huge hip chat, and we probably share like 4 or 5 really great articles a day about what people are reading. And that's given me a great insight on what the news is in those specific sectors that I probably wouldn't have caught, so I think that's really great. I would also set up Google Alerts for the industries that your clients are in, just so you know what's in the news about what they're talking about and what they care about. And know your client inside and out, so you need to know their business almost as well as they do to be able to spot all the opportunities. Organization is key. Our job is really messy and really varied every day. This is the backbone to what we do. We need to make sure that our emails are kept in order. I would definitely recommend using loads of Chrome extensions and making sure that you've got everything in place and that you can have a sleep and still remember what you were doing yesterday. And get really good at making friends. Account managers are there to build relationships with people, and agencies are dime a dozen, and the reason that someone's going to keep working with you is because they like you. So that means, yes, remembering Christmas and national holidays. Remember your clients' birthdays, remember their engagements, send them cards. Make sure that they remember that you care. I think that's a really big underestimated point. And it is going back to customer service, things that I learned at TK Maxx and Taco Bell. Really good phone manner, really good, smiling when you speak to someone. Really basic stuff really makes a really big difference. I think that's it. Thanks.